The village of Blackthorn Hollow had a habit of burying its secrets deeper than its dead. Nestled between ancient woods and fog-choked marshes, the settlement had survived for centuries by obeying old traditions. Outsiders rarely visited. Those who did often left quickly, unsettled by the villagers' silent stares and locked doors after sunset. When 23-year-old Eleanor Voss arrived to document local folklore for her university thesis, she thought she had discovered the perfect subject. She had no idea she was about to become one. The first rumors began 3 weeks after her arrival. Livestock were found dead, their bodies drained of blood. Children claimed they saw a pale woman wandering through the forest at night. Crops withered inexplicably. The villagers whispered Eleanor's name. She laughed it off at first. The accusations grew louder. Then old Martha Green collapsed in the village square and died before sunset. Just before her final breath, she pointed a trembling finger toward Eleanor. "She's marked," Martha gasped. "The witch walks among us." That single sentence sealed Eleanor's fate. 3 days later, the village elders gathered inside the church. No evidence was presented. No defense was allowed. The verdict had already been decided. Witch. The punishment would be carried out at dawn. Eleanor screamed her innocence as they dragged her from the church. She begged them to listen. No one did. Fear had consumed reason. The execution was swift. A wooden stake stood atop a hill overlooking the village. Rain poured from a black sky as villagers gathered in silence. Eleanor's cries echoed across the valley. Then the flames rose. The crowd watched. Some prayed, others smiled. When the fire finally died, only charred remains remained. The villagers believed the nightmare was over. They were wrong. The deaths began 1 week later. A farmer was found hanging upside down from a tree, his body twisted into impossible angles. Then a midwife disappeared. Days later, her skin was discovered draped across the church altar like a blanket. Panic spread. Some claimed Eleanor's spirit had returned for revenge. Others insisted darker forces were at work. No one dared investigate. Until Dr. Samuel Reed arrived. Samuel was a forensic pathologist from the city. His grandfather had once lived in Blackthorn Hollow, and news of the strange deaths drew him back. Unlike the villagers, Samuel believed in evidence, not ghosts, not curses, evidence. The moment he arrived, he noticed something peculiar. Every victim had a strange symbol carved into their flesh, a circle surrounded by 7 jagged lines. The same symbol appeared repeatedly throughout the village, on church walls, in old barns, even carved into ancient gravestones. When Samuel questioned the elders, they became hostile, especially Father Alden. The elderly priest seemed terrified whenever Eleanor's name was mentioned, as if he knew something. One stormy evening, Samuel broke into the church archives. Dust-covered records filled hidden cabinets beneath the sanctuary. There, he discovered documents dating back over 300 years. The pages described dozens of witch trials. Every accused person had been executed. Every execution had been followed by unexplained deaths, and every victim bore the same symbol. Samuel felt cold dread creep into his stomach. This wasn't superstition. It was a pattern. Among the records, he found something else. A map, hidden behind a false wall. The map led to an abandoned crypt beneath the cemetery. The location wasn't marked on any official records. Someone had deliberately concealed it. That night, Samuel entered the crypt alone. His flashlight illuminated narrow stone passages descending deep underground. The air smelled of mold and decay. At the tunnel's end stood a rusted iron door. It had been welded shut decades ago, yet fresh scratches covered its surface. Something had recently tried to get out. Inside the chamber, Samuel found dozens of coffins. Most were empty. One was not. A stone slab rested at the center of the room. Upon it lay a corpse, wrapped in black cloth. A brass plaque identified the body. Eleanor Voss. Samuel froze. That was impossible. Eleanor had been cremated. He had seen photographs. There shouldn't be a body. Yet there it was, perfectly preserved, as though she had died yesterday. Driven by scientific curiosity, Samuel performed an autopsy. The moment he made the first incision, he realized something was horribly wrong. There were no signs of fire damage, no burns, no smoke inhalation, no evidence she had ever been executed. Instead, he discovered extensive surgical wounds hidden beneath her clothing. Someone had opened her body before burial and stitched it back together. His hands trembled. The village hadn't burned Eleanor alive. They had murdered her beforehand, then staged the execution. But why? The answer emerged from a hidden object inside her chest cavity, a leather-bound journal, carefully sealed within her body. Samuel opened it. The final entries revealed everything. Eleanor had uncovered the village's true secret. For centuries, Blackthorn Hollow had conducted ritual sacrifices disguised as witch trials. The accused weren't witches. They were witnesses. Anyone who learned the truth was eliminated. The symbol represented an ancient cult that predated the church itself. A cult devoted to something buried beneath the village, something hungry, something ancient. And Eleanor had learned its name. The final page contained only 4 words. It is still alive. The ink looked fresh, as if written moments earlier. Samuel's pulse quickened. Then he heard movement behind him. A wet sound, a tearing sound. He turned. Eleanor's corpse was sitting upright. Its eyes were open, cloudy white, unblinking. The stitches across its chest slowly split apart. Black liquid poured onto the floor. A voice emerged from the corpse's mouth. Not Eleanor's voice, something older, something vast. You opened the door. The crypt trembled. Dust rained from the ceiling. Around Samuel, empty coffins began rattling, one after another. Then their lids exploded open. Bodies rose, hundreds of them. Every accused witch, every sacrifice, every victim, waiting in darkness beneath the village, waiting for someone to uncover the truth. The next morning, Blackthorn Hollow was gone. Rescue teams found nothing but ruins. No villagers, no church, no cemetery, no trace of Samuel Reed. Only a massive crater where the village once stood. Investigators dismissed it as a landslide. The official report was sealed. Case closed. Years later, a construction crew excavating near the site uncovered a metal container buried deep underground. Inside was Samuel's recorder. The final audio survived. Most of it consisted of screams, but the last 10 seconds were clear. A trembling voice whispered, "They weren't accusing witches." A long silence followed. Then came the sound of thousands of voices speaking at once. And one final sentence, "They were feeding us." The recording ends there. No one who has listened to the original version has ever explained what they heard afterward. Several have disappeared. The tape remains locked away. Officially, it does not exist. But sometimes, on quiet nights, residents living near the old crater report hearing distant voices rising from beneath the earth. Hungry voices waiting for the next accusation. If darkness still whispers to you, subscribe to the channel and don't miss the next nightmare.